Hello and welcome to this week's Glasstire Top 5. It is the week of June 7th, 2018. I'm Christina Rees.
I'm Rainey Knudson.
And we're counting down the top 5 art events in Texas this week. We are, if you don't recognize it, we're in Marfa at the pool of the St. George Hotel. But more on that in a second. Number 5 this week opens at the Modern Art Museum in Fort Worth. It is Takashi Murakami. It's called The Octopus Eats Its Own Leg. It is a 3-decade retrospective of his paintings. Now, I hadn't thought about Murakami in a while. However, recently, a couple of weeks ago, Brandon, Zach, and I were in Los Angeles. We were at the Broad Museum, and we went up the big escalator right there in the middle.
The armadillo orifice.
Yeah. And there was a big wraparound painting at the top of the escalator by Murakami, and it was a pretty recent painting. It's giant. It's 80 feet long. In fact, it wraps around 3 walls. It was great. It's pretty cartoony, but pretty...
Was it kind of Akira?
Well, yes. I mean, he can go in that direction when he wants to. He's increasingly...
For those of you old enough to know the reference.
Yeah, Akira. Look it up. I loved the painting, and I think Brandon did it too, and it made me more excited about this show opening in Fort Worth this weekend.
When I think of Murakami, I think of Louis Vuitton and like Little Happy Daisies and...
Or, you know, anime people with jizz coming out of their penises, like a lasso. But I'm sure there will be elements of that sort of thing in the show and his paintings.
Is the jizz lasso piece in this?
That's a sculpture.
I know, but is it... Oh, these are only paintings. Oh.
So, sorry.
Number 4 is Gary Sweeney, Manhattan Beach Memoir. This is at the Blue Star Contemporary Arts Center in San Antonio. So Gary Sweeney, San Antonio artist, grew up in Manhattan Beach, California, in this very sort of run-of-the-mill, normal, middle-class house. Eventually became worth a small fortune, and he and his family sold it. Before they sold it, he had printed all these photographs of himself as a child, his parents, his sister, his whole family, and put them up all over the house and lit it and invited people to come see this thing. And it ended up being this whole phenomenon, I think, in Manhattan Beach, because people remembered what it had been like before, you know, real estate was so crazy there.
Remembered his family.
Remembered his dad.
Going over there.
Like his dad, I think, was city councilman or sheriff or something.
I mean, talk about a really clever exercise in nostalgia.
Yes.
This is a good one.
It's a really, really good one. Gary Sweeney, I think, is such a great artist. He gets a little bit short shrift because he's funny and easy and accessible. And he can go to the dark side of things. But in this particular piece, I think it's just charming and wonderful. And it's part of a whole slew of openings happening in San Antonio. So number 3 is in Houston. It's Brett Shirley's new space called BS. And it's up by the old Glasstire offices, actually, on 34th Street and Mangum. He's actually next to Fiesta Tacos, which are some of the best tacos in Houston. Just side promo.
A bonus tip for you.
Their barbacoa. Anyway, Brett Shirley is opening the show. Small paintings, yes. Katie Hector, Mark Johnson Epstein, Alex Larson. And it opens this weekend, this Friday.
Yeah.
And it's going to be really exciting. Frankly, I'm just so excited to see an artist-run space opening up in Houston.
I like it where it's opening.
I love where it's opening.
Yeah.
I love the inventiveness and getting out of the normal sort of art centers of Houston. I think it's going to be great. Yeah. And number 2, at UTEP, we saw the show yesterday. This just opened.
This is the Rubin Center in
The
El
Rubin
Paso. Center
at University of Texas, El Paso. It's called Salidas y Entradas, which is exits and entrances. Jessica Hankey and Aaron Johnson are the artists, and this is their latest in a series of video series where they go and shoot people in a space. For this one, they went to El Paso and they shot in retirement homes.
It's really they're senior community centers.
Yeah.
And so there's always activities going on throughout the day and in the evenings. And they would shoot these people in these environments, but they had them also tell stories about their lives, and they're having them improvise and reenact these stories with one another. So stories about marriages and home loan situations and banks and things like that. So you see them reenacting arguments, you see them reenacting love stories.
Yeah.
They're improvising, and they're completely amateurs, and they're very into it, and some of them are very good.
They're mesmerizing. I mean,
these are great videos.
What was a argument or discussion between a married couple, a man and a woman? You'll see 2 women acting out with each other as if they themselves are married, and they said that that would happen because more women than men wanted to act in these videos, basically. But there's that kind of stuff, but there's also documentary filmmaking.
Yeah.
I could have sat and watched this video for a long time.
So number one is why we came out to West Texas and to El Paso. It's the 5th annual Transborder Biennial at the El Paso Museum of Art. It is also in Juárez at that Contemporary Art Museum.
Yeah, the Ciudad Juárez Art Museum.
Yeah, so this is the 5th annual one. This collaboration started in 2008. This is an open call. They put it out to all of the states of the U.S. that are border states and into Mexico within 400 kilometers of the border. And they chose 32 artists. And the 32 artists, they have works in both the El Paso Museum and the Juárez Museum. We've been to both. We did Juárez as well. And it's incredibly interesting to see how both museums installed the shows, what they had from the artists, what the artists are doing on both sides of the border concerning border issues.
But it's not all concerning border issues. Some of these artists live on the border, but they were quick to, the curators in Juárez were quick to say not all of these artists are explicitly dealing with border issues. But there are certainly border issues in a lot of the art.
The El Paso Museum on the weekend of September 6th, 7th, 8th will be hosting a convening of anyone who wants to come and see the entire exhibition, and they will take people into Juárez to sit. But you can do that too. You can walk over the bridge and go to Juárez, take a cab from the bottom of the bridge. And
we walked across the bridge. I strongly recommend you go support this museum just with your visitation. It was a little heartbreaking to see these people who have been carrying the torch in Juárez, a very difficult environment. When you see the fabulous museums in Mexico City or Monterrey, this Juárez museum needs love, and it's a great space. Pedro Ramirez Vasquez is the architect, same architect who did the Modern Art Museum in the Round in Mexico City.
Yeah.
And it's
very
it's a
groovy,
fascinating
60s
space,
building.
super groovy, really weird.
Yep.
And it was great to see dedicated people who really care about art keeping it going in Juárez. So we're here during the Agave Festival in Marfa, which didn't occur to me actually meant booze.
And drink some mezcal.
Don't bite the worm.
What the worm?